Hello and welcome to the guide on how to extract footage from your video cameras to your computer using Smart PSS. The section that we're going to be using in Smart PSS today is going to be the playback section here in the middle on the left hand side. So simply click on the film reel icon and it'll take us to this screen. The only things of importance to us on this screen right now are going to be on this left-hand side over here. It will show you by default all of the different camera systems that you have on your Smart PSS. For the most part, people will only have one of these camera systems selected, so if you only see one thing here, don't fret, that's why. It should have a white arrow to the left of the name, and if you click on that white arrow like I did, it will turn it blue and it will actually show all of the different cameras that you have selected or connected to that camera system. So if you know which camera you want, then you're going to go ahead and select that specific one. I'm just going to be choosing the third one here for this recording. The next part of our tutorial is going to be choosing the time for your video extraction. So down here you will see a section called time, and if you see on the right there is a calendar icon. If you click on this calendar icon, it will show you two calendars here. The left one is going to be the start date and time, and the right one is going to be the end date and time. As well as certain dates will have little blue icons in the top right. Those icons essentially are showing you how far back the recordings go. So if a date has that little blue circle there, that means that your cameras are recording up, that is the last date that your cameras had recorded. So for this, I'm just going to be choosing a random day. I'll choose, let's say, May 10th here. And you'll see once I select that, on the right-hand side, it'll automatically highlight 3 days. For the extraction purposes, I would not suggest doing anything more than a couple of hours. So we're not going to mess around too much with the date side of this. And it will automatically select the correct date, so you don't really, on the right-hand side, so you don't need to worry about that once you've selected the date on the left-hand side. The important part is going to be this two little sections down here for the actual timing of the video. Now, an important thing to note just right off the bat is that Smart PSS does use a 24-hour notation for the time, so it'll show 23:59:59 instead of 11:59 p.m. You know, just important to know, you know, so you don't get a little tripped up when you're looking at this and confuses what you're looking at. It helps for what this time selector is doing basically is once we have selected this time and then we hit search, it's going to pull up the time that we have kind of selected there on a timeline that we can search through. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be doing 7 a.m. to, let's say, 11 a.m. here. So that should be right here, 10 and then 7. Perfect. So yeah, once you have that selected, 6:59:59, 7 a.m. essentially, and then 10:59:59, 11 a.m. essentially, you're going to go down here in the bottom left and you're going to hit the search button. And it'll take a couple seconds, and then eventually you will see the top left gets populated with this film reel icon, and the timeline down here gets populated with yellow and green. So your first step then is going to be hitting the play button down here in the bottom. And once you do that, it'll actually start playing back the footage of the time that you recorded, as you can see right here, or that you're going to extract. As you can see right here, it says 7 a.m., so I did choose my time correctly. And what you're going to want to do is just click anywhere on this timeline that you want to start extracting footage from. So let's just say I want to grab 8 a.m. here. So I'm going to click there, and it's going to start the recording again at 8 a.m. And now once I have that, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click the scissors. Now, I will tell you, because it's not, you're not going to be as super precise as possible, that you're probably going to want to start a little bit before, so maybe 7:59 is good. That way you have a little bit of leeway. It's just a tip. Then you're going to go down here and you're going to hit the time clip, these little scissor icon here. And once you do so, you're going to see two red markers appear on the timeline, as well as the outside of the timeline are going to start to gray out. And what these markers are is essentially they are showing you the section of the timeline that you are going to clip and extract onto your computer. By default, this does make a 1 hour clip. If you just clicked on it and you didn't do anything, it will make a 1 hour clip from where you started it on the timeline to an hour later. This is important to know only if you set your parameters to be under an hour. It can be kind of hard to clip doing that because you end up getting the red selectors off of the timeline and it can be a little confusing. So if you are having that kind of issue where for some reason you're only seeing one of these little selectors, it might be because you selected a time frame that is under an hour. So, like I said, these, you have pretty free reign over them. The right one is going to be where the video ends, and you can tell it's the ending because it has the square or the marker on the outside of the right side of the line, whereas the starting marker will have it on the left-hand side of the line. So, I'm just going to go ahead and just randomly select this spot here. Once you have the footage that you actually want to export to your computer, and you can still click on the timeline here and see what's happening up in the top left here to see if this is really the footage that you want. Once you have that selected and you've made sure your two red markers are in the correct spots and the non-darkened, just to double make sure and be clear, the non-darkened areas are the areas that you are going to be extracting here. You're going to click on the time clip button once more, and you're going to get a little prompt here in the center of your screen. So for a majority of people, I would suggest first, before you do anything, clicking this export format. This is really important, and selecting that to MP4. Most computers cannot view these first two, and most phones can't view these first two. So if you're trying to do any sort of thing like transferring this or emailing this clip to your phone, or even trying to open it on this computer, there's a very good chance it won't work unless you click MP4 export format. That is incredibly important. A lot of people have issues with that specific part. They get to this and then they go, it's not doing anything. That's the reason why. So once you do that, you can go ahead and hit browse here. If you know where you want your video file to go specifically, I'm just going to send mine to the desktop here. So I'm going to hit desktop and then down here select folder. And once all of that is done, you double check you have MP4 selected. You're going to hit OK here. It's going to tell you that the system can't play back while it's exporting the video. Just go ahead and hit OK. Don't worry about it. It'll automatically stop playing it back. And you will get a little box here that is kind of like a guide. It'll show you a little bar here, the status of how long this export's going to take. I will note these do take a little while, and the larger the section that you are exporting, the longer it is going to take. So if you're trying to export something above 3-4 hours in size, it's probably going to take a little while. So just bear in mind that you might want to be cutting it down to much shorter clips, under an hour maybe. That way it's a little bit more reasonable on the download process. And once you do that, it will show up on your desktop, and you'll be able to just click on that and view the file there. Thank you.